Pete Hegseth was on the Hill today taking questions from United States senators, and he was absolutely taken to town by senator after senator after senator on the deployment of the National Guard and Marines to California, to Los Angeles during the anti-ICE ICE raid, people protesting the ICE raids in Los Angeles over the last week. And these clips here are just absolutely astounding and is exactly what the Democrats who are in power need to be doing. And it really exposes how haphazardly Hegseth is going about his role in as the Secretary of State, and really calls into question his ability to lead, and calls into question why some of these Democrats even voted for him in the first place to be confirmed. I think the Democrats should have probably fought much harder than they did on each and every Trump appointee, really, but especially the most, probably, one of the most consequential jobs on the whole planet. But before we look at that, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and maybe share with someone that's into politics. We'll head over here to Mediaite, where we'll start off with Senator Mais Hirono. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her name right there. Apologies if I am not. Just lambasting Pete Hegseth here, and then we'll look at some other clips.
Secretary Hegseth, millions of people
Our federal agents, Americans, to
here to
cross our
listen
border.
to rhetorical responses. I would like to have a professional response that I would expect from somebody who is the Secretary of Defense. Millions of people peacefully demonstrated this weekend against the president acting like a king. Given this regime's dangerous policy of mobilizing troops inside the U.S., the politicizing of the military is a legitimate concern. So, given the dangerous policy of mobilizing troops inside the U.S., if ordered by the president, I'm going to ask you once again, to shoot peaceful protesters in the legs, would you carry out such an order from the president?
Senator, as I've said before, of course, I reject the premise of your question and the characterization that I would be given or are given unlawful orders. It's all meant to attempt to smear the commander-in-chief, and I won't fall for it.
Considering that the president in his first term actually ordered such a thing, it is not a premise that you can reject. He can order, do the same thing. So you're, again, I think you would just follow what the president wants you to do. Let's face it, it is not normal to call up our troops in this way, and there is active litigation against this deployment. Will you follow a court's order regarding whether or not this deployment is legal? If the court says this deployment of troops into our cities is not legal, would you follow that court's order?
It's pending in the courts, Senator.
Well, when the court decides, would you follow that court's order, decision?
I don't believe district courts should be determining national security policy.
So
but
you will not be following that.
when it goes to the Supreme Court, we'll see.
Court, and unless the president decides to appeal, there you have it. So
There you have it. I'm not sure how that response is anything short of a constitutional crisis. Pete Hegseth saying that the judiciary should not be interfering with the executive branch's ability to carry out deportations, when in fact the judiciary is 1/3 of the co-equal branches of government. That is a full-blown constitutional crisis, especially in a country where the Congress of the United States, it was designed, the founding fathers designed our system of government so that if somebody like Trump, a madman dictator, wannabe king got elected, that their power would be diluted given the power given to Congress and the judiciary. But when all of that responsibility to keep the president in check falls on the judiciary and the Congress is simply going to go along with Donald Trump, I don't see how that's anything short of a constitutional crisis. And to her first point there, right, Mark Esper, the former Secretary of State, certainly was given an order to shoot protesters in their feet. And for Hegseth to act like, oh, Trump would never do that, that would never happen. The premise of your question, I reject the premise of your question, because Trump would never order the military to crack down on protesters or to Trump would never order something illegal to me to act against protesters. It's like, dude, what Trump are you talking about? Like, Trump is certainly someone who has absolutely no qualms with using force to get his way and to make a point politically, right? Who can forget the infamous Bible photo op where Trump was holding the Bible upside down, and before that he cleared out peaceful protesters with tear gas so that he could have that photo op. Hegseth trying to play dumb here, trying to act like the American people are not aware of Donald Trump's proclivity to use violence against the American people, when that is something that Donald Trump has certainly shown a proclivity to do. Now we'll look at Alyssa Slotkin here, who probably one of the most visceral examples I've seen of a Democrat calling out a just Republican BS, frankly, straight to their face, and not being afraid to use language that some might feel is crass or is too unprofessional, if you will. But I think this is exactly the way that Democrats need to be attacking Republicans in this day and age in politics.
To get to the non-theoretical, have you authorized the uniformed military to detain or arrest protesters in Los Angeles?
Senator, I would just start by saying you're not a protester if you're throwing concrete
100%.
at law
Arrest those
enforcement
people.
officers.
Throw them in the jail. 100%. But what you're doing is something different. Everyone knows this is a political decision, right? So we don't trust that you're using the best interests of the military, certainly, and of democracy on top of that. So have you given the order? That's all I want to know. It's not theoretical. For the U.S. military, not law enforcement. They can arrest all day long. That's their job. Do they have the ability, the uniformed military, to arrest and detain protesters currently today? It's a yes or no thing. Authority.
It's sort of amusing the extent to which the speculation is out there.
It's not amusing.
These troops are given very clear orders.
Then what is the order? Then list it out for us. Be a man. List it out. Did you authorize them to detain or arrest? That is a fundamental issue of democracy. I'm not trying to be a snot here. I'm just trying to get the actual. Did you authorize them to do that?
All of these orders and what they're sent there to do are public. They are there
so
to.
Say it. So say it. Yes or no?
I'd like to.
Please, yes or no?
As I've said time and time again through interruption, they're there to protect law enforcement.
Do they have
ICE
the ability
officers
to arrest?
who are trying to do their job, deporting illegals who were allowed in by the previous administration.
So they cannot arrest and detain citizens of the United States, the uniformed military.
As we've stated, if necessary, in their own self-defense, they could temporarily detain and hand over to ICE. But there's no arresting going on. And you know this better than you're trying to play political games. There's no arresting of U.S. personnel.
Of the U.S. military against members of the protest. Have you authorized U.S. military cyber tools to investigate people participating in these protests? Yes or no?
Certainly in no way that I'd be aware of.
Okay, that's good. I love that answer. That's great. Have you given the order to be able to shoot at unarmed protesters in any way? I'm just asking the question. Don't laugh. Like the whole country. And by the way, my colleagues across the aisle.
What is that based on? What evidence would you have that an order like that has ever been given?
It is based on Donald Trump giving that order to your predecessor, to a Republican Secretary of Defense, who I give a lot of credit to because he didn't accept the order. He had more guts and balls than you because he said, I'm not going to send in the uniformed military to do something that I know in my gut isn't right. He was asked to shoot at their legs. He wrote that in his book. That's not hearsay. So your poo-pooing of this, it just shows you don't understand who we are as a country, who we are. And all of my colleagues across the aisle, especially the ones that served, should want an apolitical military and not want citizens to be scared of their own military. I love the military. I served alongside my whole life, so I'm worried about you tainting it. Have you given the order? Have you given the order that they can use lethal force against honor? I want the answer to be no. Please tell me it's no. Have you given the order?
Senator, I'd be careful what you read in books and believing it, except for the Bible.
Oh, my God. So your former predecessor.
Oh, man. Be careful what you read in books unless it's a book by Jake Tapper talking about Joe Biden's mental decline, then that's a surefire written in stone reality. I mean, just the hypocrisy in that statement alone is absolutely astounding. But Hegseth here can't give a yes or no answer on whether or not he would accept an order to order the United States military to detain United States citizens, because he certainly would do that. And that is certainly something that is on the table for Donald Trump to order. And, this time around, there are absolutely, it seems, there's no one in the administration that is ready, willing, and able to stand up to Donald Trump. And the first time around, you had at least a few people who seemingly kept the wheels of democracy rolling and didn't let Donald Trump become a fascist dictator. But this time around, those people are few and far between, if they even exist at all. I'm not sure that they do. And you got guys like Hegseth in there that certainly would accept an order from the president to use the military to detain American citizens. That's why he can't give a yes or no answer there, because he certainly would. Him not saying no, I would never do that. That is a violation of the Constitution, and the military has no legal authority to do that. The fact that he didn't say that is an answer, right? It's saying that he would, and he's had no problem saying no cyber tools were deployed in against protesters. So that is something that, Hegseth would never do that. He would never use cyber tools. But arresting United States citizens for protesting on home soil, given Hegseth's response there, is certainly something that is on the table. And really, it's gonna, what it will boil down to essentially is whether or not the military themselves take these orders, right? And given how unenthusiastically the U.S. Army participated in Trump's total waste of money parade over this last weekend, we could be heading towards a full-blown constitutional crisis where the Army may not want to, or may not feel they have the ability to carry out an order from the president and from the Secretary of Defense. So really, I mean, that is, again, a constitutional crisis in the making here, if troops were to be ordered to do so. And he says that the orders are made public in terms of what the National Guard was sent there to do, which is, oh yeah, they're there to protect ICE and they're there to assist ICE in their mission. But okay, what does that entail? That's basically what his response there is opening the door for, right? And this is a trial run. Don't make no mistake. This is a trial run. What happened in LA. This is they're trying to see how far they can push this and what they can get away with. What Hegseth is saying there is that he's laying the foundation for the United States military to arrest citizens of the United States under the false pretense of assisting ICE. And what they'll say is, well, yeah, the United States military did some arrests and detained some Americans, but it's legal because of their order to assist ICE, right? It's like they're trying to go around. They're trying to say they're not directly ordered to detain protesters, but in fulfilling their overarching mission in being present in Los Angeles at all, that was something that was on the table, being able to arrest United States citizens. So this is not good. This is something that's going to eventually spill over into other cities. And what Hegseth and Trump want to do here, they want to see how far they can push this and how much the American people will be willing to stomach the American military being in their streets and in their cities deployed against us, right? Absolutely despicable. And I'm glad that Slotkin here had the gall to tell Pete Hegseth to his face, you don't have the balls and you are not a man, because you cannot even say whether or not you would go along with such an order. That's not somebody who has fealty sworn to the United States and the Constitution and upholding the Constitution at each and every turn. That is somebody who was appointed to be a yes man, a rubber stamp, a order taker, and to do the president's bidding at each and every turn. So yeah, you got to sit back and wonder, the Democrats should have probably fought this appointment much harder than they did. I don't think the Democrats should have given a single vote to any Donald Trump appointee. They just shouldn't have. And now they're going, whoopsie. Well, maybe this Hegseth guy is plunging us into a constitutional crisis, but the problem is it might be too late to really do anything about it, given what Hegseth just said there. That's all I got for you guys in this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and share with someone that's into politics. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.